Welcome to the Mischief. I'm Valen, and this is Immersive Engineering. Today we're covering the refinery. As you can see here, it can be a complex looking machine with all the inputs and output and levers and double tanks and it's actually not that bad. It's got very few uses, but it is required in order to make diesel fuel that you'll need in order to power many different larger scale RF generating machines. So first and foremost, let's get into how to make one of these things. Alright, we start off with some simple scaffolding. We're just going to do kind of a dash line, just basically 5 blocks in width, but you're going to leave the center block missing, and then you're going to have another one parallel to that. Then you're going to have some light engineering blocks and heavy engineering blocks. Put the light ones in the back and the heavy ones in the front. You can then put your redstone engineering block on either side that you would like the lever to be on of this. So if you want it on the right, you'd put it on the right side. If you want it on the left, you can put it on the left. No big deal there. Then you want to put your pipe down in the middle, running the entire length of it. And then you just put these little cubes of iron sheet metal on either side. And it makes a pretty easy way of getting this set. Then you take your engineer's hammer, and on the heavy engineering block in the middle, just right click, and you create yourself your little invention here. Now, when you right click on it, there's a lot of meters and things going on in here. It's actually not too bad. When I look at this one, this might help a little bit better once it's got some items flowing into it. So we're going to do that. This, of course, is going to allow it to turn two fuels together, or two liquids together, into another, solution. And in this case, I currently have, let me grab a bucket. There we go. Plant oil in here and ethanol in here. With those two, you'll be able to make yourself your diesel fuel that you're looking for. So let's turn on the plant fuel to start with. Now you can, instead of turning those on and having them piping in, if you look here, you've got your in slot on both sides, one for each tank. So when you click on here, you've got one tank here, one tank here. This is going to be your output. You notice there's an arrow. That's what separates it. So you're taking two fluids, creating one with it. And then you have your output right here. Now you're not going to get items going in or out. If you put conveyor belts on the side here going into this, it is not actually going to input any kind of buckets or barrels or drums or anything like that. It won't work. You will have to instead use other items. Now on the back side, there isn't anything of note, just the power on the top there that you can use, which actually, in good news, you could probably just use a low voltage cable. I have this hooked up to, of course, a creative capacitor, so it is still getting maximum with the power. But you know, that's not that bad in comparison to some of the other machines and how much we need those power to run those ones at a high speed. This is maximum speed right here. You don't need to go to high voltage. You can if you want, but you don't have to, and it won't make any difference on this one. Now I can, as I was saying, decide to put in some ethanol. You can manually fill these things. Like so. There you go. I now have 1 bucket of ethanol in there, which is wonderful. We're going to actually break this connection. I don't want it to start ejecting yet into any kind of tank. So with that, we can also add in plant oil as well. Now I don't have to. I just did this because I wanted to. So let's pipe some in. Whoops. Not put the pipe in there. And this is going to allow the liquid to flow around into the machine here. And you can see it is now filling up with plant oil. Of course, if I go and flick that lever off, then it will stop. But for now, that's exactly what I want it to do. Now, I do have power, and this is currently off. So let's turn that on. Now, that's the lever is on, meaning that it's shutting this unit off. If I flick a switch here, which I think I accidentally broke a lever not long ago, and put this on here, click that, and it should allow this to start coming in. There we go. Ethanol, look at that. And your biodiesel is not being created at the moment because I turned that lever off. But currently, the ethanol, which, by the way, I got 2 buckets from that 1 bucket of ethanol I put in there, because you're getting 1 bucket of plant oil, 1 bucket of ethanol is equaling 2 buckets of biodiesel. And that's what ended up happening. It used one of the buckets of plant oil and that one bucket I had in there of the ethanol before I shut it off with this lever here to create that. Now you'll notice it will not go any faster really than what it has once I start this up. And there we go, and you can see it is currently making biodiesel. It's making it at a much greater rate than you'll probably end up using it in most cases, at least, for future use. But you could always create multiple refineries if you absolutely need to. And therefore, it is currently doing that. Now, if I take this bucket, you think, all right, well, can I grab some out of there? Well, you can of the biodiesel, but it doesn't work that way with these other ones. Now, if I use up these items, let's turn these off. There we go. And I currently start using up these. You see that the bucket level dropped down. If I drop an ethanol bucket in there, there you go, it fills it up. So you can't actually fill those two containers in here. I had a chemical thrower I even put in here. And it was actually taking out little tiny bits of the ethanol or plant oil that I had in the chemical thrower. So I don't recommend doing that as it's not very productive. Jerry cans would work as well. You could put a full jerry can in here on the top and it would fill it up at the bottom. And that's, you know, jerry cans carry, I think, about 10 buckets worth of stuff. But you can see the biodiesel is coming out and is working just fine. And of course you can also put a jerry can in here for that as well, but you'll notice it's 23,000. Let's actually start piping some of this out here. There we go. And now that's hooked up to a tank, which is just one of these here. I just kind of built it underground so that it would be a little bit more out of the way for this. But you can see it is draining very fast. And a jerry can hold about 10 buckets. So once I put this in here, boom, it just totally takes a bunch out. Now if I put another one in there, it took out 1582. So let's break this just so that it stops doing that and it starts filling up again. Here's something to remember. Try and put a jerry can in. It won't always take more into the jerry can. I did find that sometimes it would glitch out and it wouldn't allow me to. I think it was the ethanol and plant oil, but for the biodiesel it was just fine. So if I tried filling ethanol and plant oil in here, it was having a little glitch there. So keep that in mind, that if you're trying to fill jerry cans with some of the other materials besides biodiesel, then you're probably going to have a little issue trying to fill it up if you're just taking partial amounts. But in this case, it's just fine. I mean, these aren't, I'm not going to even use these ones, but there we go. I'll just turn those off. And you can see that these are currently being used up, and they will get used up at the same rate, even though they are slightly off. You know, it all depends, because right now I actually have one more bucket of ethanol in one side than I had plant oil from that earlier deposit. And of course, as you can see here, you don't have to have it piped into this. You can have it piped into other items. For instance, let's bring it... No. I don't want it over there. I want it over here. Let's bring it up if I can. It's a little bit difficult in trying to get this to work the way I want to. There we go. And it's kind of wanting to create different paths, and you could put it into a barrel if you like, wooden or metal. It's not going to make any difference there because those both work in a similar fashion. Let's put that there, and then if I hold a bucket, you should be able to see the contents. Biodiesel. There you go. Nothing really too fancy there. You can pipe it into tanks, you can pipe it into other fluid containers and so on, but probably what you're going to want to pump it into is something that's going to use that, like some kind of giant generator. Well, we'll be getting into that soon enough. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this brief tutorial on how to make yourself and the uses for a refinery. Now soon we'll be getting into some more complex stuff where we get into the end game, the power generation, as well as what to do with that power, and I look forward to demonstrating that to you as well. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, feel free to comment below, subscribe if you haven't already, and spread the mischief to others if you think that they'll enjoy this content. And until next time folks, I'll see ya.